back to Dry Hollow Homestead. This is Danielle, and I would like to introduce you to the newest member of our homestead, Mr. Daniel Joseph. So I'm actually going to go over his birth story today before I completely forget all the details. So it's pretty fresh. He is actually 9 days old today. So this is October 6th. He was born September 27th at 9:16 a.m. and he was supposed to, I thought he was going to be really big because that's what they were saying, that if he went to full term he would be like 9.5 pounds, but he was 41 weeks when he was born, so I was expecting a very large baby. He was I keep saying 9. He was 8 pounds 11 ounces and 20 inches long, so not a big baby. He was perfect the way he was. The way he is. He's perfect the way he is. So, with this pregnancy, if you've been keeping up, I was 28 weeks, I was 38 weeks when I got shingles presented on my body in a very bad place for delivery. And if you were to add the 5 days to it that they told me for an ultrasound, they said that he was measuring 5 days ahead. Then I was like 39 weeks when I found this out. So up until that point, they were telling me how big he was, and I really wanted him to come out early instead of staying in there and getting bigger. But when we found the shingles, whenever I started with the shingles, I went ahead and quit saying that prayer, quit praying for him to come early. And because of where the shingles was, they were going to make me have a C-section if it was not cleared. So I was praying very hard for that to clear. It did. Hallelujah. God just carried us through this pregnancy in so many different ways that I didn't understand while we were going through it and why things were happening the way it is. But he has a plan, and we appreciate the knowledge that he is taking care of us. We are in his hands. So this little guy, when it finally cleared on Friday before he was born, so he was born on a Wednesday, on the Friday before, I had a midwife appointment, and she checked to make sure I was cleared for a regular delivery, and she said I was, so I was extremely excited to have that be the option. And with my last pregnancy, as you know, with Daisy, I had a hard time with labor. It just didn't want to stay, and my uterus was very tired before it was finished, whenever she actually was born. And then I had a hemorrhage, 3rd-degree hemorrhage, went to the hospital, got a unit of blood. So that had been 5 years between her birth and Daniel's birth. So I was really hoping my uterus, and this is, lots of talk about female things. If you're not interested in that, we'll see you again next time. But I was hoping that my uterus was ready and revitalized for this pregnancy and birth. But I had pretermal labor a lot. So I would have contractions that were good and painful, and they felt like it was very strong. They were very strong, and I would have them over days, but they would come 5-10 minutes apart, and then they would stop for hours, and then there would be a couple hours where it would be kind of on and off, and then there would be another 12 hours before I would have another one. So unfortunately, I wish my pregnancies would happen just like in the movies, where it's like you have your first contraction and it's like, oh, okay, here we go. And no, not even close with me. But so I had a lot of labor, and I knew it was doing something. My body was doing something, but I didn't know exactly when it was going to happen. But he was 41 weeks on Wednesday, the day he was born, if you don't count the 5 days that they told me on the ultrasound, which would make him 41 and 5 days, nearly 42. But I'm going to stop talking about the 5 extra days. So what actually brought me into the hospital, that Tuesday evening, I was definitely having lots of contractions that felt very productive, but they were really random. So I went to bed that night thinking, okay, if they wake me up in the middle of the night, then we will go. And I had a couple that did wake me up, and then I had one, because I went to bed at like 9, I had one at around 12:30 that woke me up. That was very painful. I thought, I don't want to be home for another one of these. Like, the idea of me needing to leave and go to the hospital and having those the whole ride into the hospital, that painful, I was a little nervous about, because they felt like they were going to bring on a baby. This is only my 6th pregnancy and birth. You would think I knew exactly what I was doing, right? So we get to the hospital. I've had a couple more in the car, but not near as progressive. Is that what or productive? For me, I can tell by how painful they are, how much work they're doing, and when I can talk through them and be walking around, they weren't very productive. If I had to stop and concentrate and breathe through them, then they were very productive. So I got to the hospital and was at 5, which was good, but I wasn't sure for sure if labor was going to continue to go. But they went ahead and got me in a room, and they did continually come. I was in the bathtub for a little bit. We got there probably about 1:30 in the morning to the hospital, and then he was born at 9. So I labored there at the hospital for about 8 hours. That's not great. I really wish I could have labor start and then just continue to build until he's born or the baby's born, but I don't think my body, maybe the last 2, 5 and 6, maybe it's tired and it doesn't really want to do that. It doesn't get him in the right position either. So it was pretty painful, the contractions, but I knew they were working. It didn't seem to be like it was happening to me, right? But I was in so much pain with it. I wasn't really aware of a whole lot around me. I was just focusing on getting through the pain. And I don't know if that was because the shingles I still have nerve pain with, and if that made it worse or not. I'm not really sure, but it felt pretty bad. But they all feel bad every birth, and then they feel better the further distance you get from when you were giving birth. So maybe that's just it. It's so fresh. But so we did not begin pushing until probably about 9 a.m. Maybe even a little before that, not much. When they told me I was at 10, I did not feel the urge to push right away, and I even pushed through several contractions, and they broke my water at 7 centimeters at like 5 a.m. So all of these things that like I don't always think I really want, when I'm in it, I want it to be over with, and I know this helps me to get it over with. So I did ask them to break my water. They gave me the option, and I said yes, go ahead, because my water doesn't break on its own anyway. I've had to have it break every time. Even in the natural birth centers, I've had to have my water broken, or it doesn't drop enough to keep the contractions consistent. So that's where we're at. So I don't know if because there's so much room in my womb now, he was not lined up very well. He actually has quite a bump on the side of his head. That is what came out first, or that's what my husband kept saying, I can see the head, I can see the head. Well, it was not the crown of the head, it was the side of the head right here. So that is what came out. That is the way he was facing when he came out. It was hard to push him out. I didn't have to push very much because I knew what I needed to do, but I could feel that I was pushing through more than I could. So I knew, I don't know how to say this, but there was no more stretching. There was going to be tearing, and I knew that when I was trying to push his head out. So that was painful, and there's only one way to do it. You just have to finish pushing. Definitely ripped 3 different places, but that's not because he was so big. I think it was because of the angle he came out of. Also, I got his head out, and then his shoulders got stuck. That's never happened to me before, and his shoulders, he's not, like I said, a large baby, but I think because he was coming out not like this, he was coming out like this, and that I couldn't get them out. So I actually had to change positions, and the midwife had to actually help his shoulders out, which doesn't normally happen. With every other baby I've had, you get the head out, and then just one more push and the body comes out, shoulders and the rest of it pretty quickly. That was a little bit scary. That took like 45 seconds, literally, probably maybe even a little bit more than that, but it felt like a really long time whenever I couldn't get his shoulders out. But he's here. He is totally healthy, no issues, other than a tongue tie, which we've never had a baby with a tongue tie before. We're going to have that taken care of, and it is a complete tongue tie, so it goes to the tip of his tongue. He cannot stick his tongue out, and it looks like a little heart when he tries to stick his tongue out. So that is actually making breastfeeding kind of painful, but he is very motivated to nurse, so that is helpful. So he was 8'11" when he was born. He dropped down to 8'2" before we left the hospital. And I forget what he was when we went to the doctor. He's been to one doctor's appointment. And I'm very thankful for our doctor. He gives us options, and I appreciate our doctor very much so. We do some things that some people would think is controversial, but our doctor is behind every decision that we've made, and I appreciate that. He's more focused on the health of the people he is caring for, the children he's caring for, than the big pharma's helping him and giving him money, so we are very thankful for that. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. So he is really healthy. He has quite the lump on his head from where the blood pooled while I was pushing him out, but his doctor said that will subside and be fixing itself in a couple weeks, in the first couple weeks here. So it looks quite different, but it's totally fine. And the tongue tie, and other than that, he is totally healthy, and we are so thankful for him. We know how much of a blessing a baby is, and just adding to your family. Not everybody gets to do it as often as we are. We are very blessed. But here we go. This is baby Daniel. And his, we stayed for exactly like 24 hours. He was born at 9:16. We stayed that night. And then we came home by 12 o'clock the next day, I think it was. So that wasn't too bad. I was thankful that so we ended up going in the middle of the night and then staying the whole next day and then until noon the next day, which was fine. I just don't like to be away from the rest of my family that long. But I was thankful for the decision to have the baby at the hospital, to have him at the hospital. The intervention was extremely low. They did nothing that I did not want them to. Nothing. So I'm very thankful. They gave me lots of options, and I refused some things, and I didn't get any kind of bad, attitudes about it or anything. So I'm thankful for that. And because my body just isn't doing the laboring well, I am thankful that I was there. I really wanted to have a home birth. I kept thinking about doing a home birth, and I know I've told you over and over again. But because I've had so many and my uterus is not doing the job that I think it needs to do afterwards and during and putting it into position, it makes me feel a lot safer being there, which I would not have said 3-4 months ago for sure. But so I am thankful that I was there in case of anything, because I did not trust that we were going to be able to do it all, that my body could do it all. But also he is here, he is healthy, and I'm sure if I was at home and giving birth with a midwife, he would be here and healthy also. But I am definitely not regretting my decision to go in, and I actually had the midwife that I really love from the practice that I'm at, so that was awesome. And like I said, they did no intervention that I did not ask for, so they left me alone during the laboring like I wanted, and yeah, so no regrets. Very thankful for God's hand being in this pregnancy and delivery and birth of baby Daniel. So if you have any questions, I don't know, there's nothing else to say about this. So we will get back into milking. I have been actually milking every now and then when my husband holds the baby. He is actually going to be home with us for quite a while. Thank you. Thank goodness. I forget how slow coming into doing things is when you have a newborn. So for me, I like to go, 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 and being weightless without the weight of the baby on me makes me want to go, go, go. But taking the time to be sitting a lot and holding this little one is slowing me down a little bit, which is probably a good thing, right? Because I'm still healing, but I am excited to get back into some things. And first thing is milk and cheeses, because we are getting about between 5 and 6 gallons a day. So yeah, we will be looking forward to that. And I will see you again next time. God bless, and I speak Jesus over you wherever you're at, because it is the name above all names. I'll talk to you later. Bye.